1917 is a war movie written and directed by Sam Mendes that takes place during World War I. I haven't seen a whole lot of movies directed by Sam Mendes. I know he did direct Skyfall, which is probably my favorite among the Daniel Craig James Bond movies. And part of me is beginning to think that's what most people know him for, seeing how all the marketing trailers for 1917 had him labeled as the director of Skyfall. But it was because of that reason, and seeing the trailers themselves, I was really interested in seeing 1917. I really enjoy war movies. I love how impactful they can be. I love how a lot of them are able to put you right into the scenario. If nothing else, it gives you such an appreciation for the men and women that risk their lives every day to fight for the USA. Especially once I heard this movie was getting insanely good reviews, it only got me even more excited to see this movie. Unfortunately though, this movie did not get a wide release in Massachusetts at any point during 2019. So because of that, I had to wait till this past weekend when it finally got a wide release everywhere, and I can tell you right now, this is an amazing movie. I can't even really say this is a movie. This was an experience. This was something really, really special. So in the beginning of this movie, we see these two soldiers, Blake and Schofield. They get called in by their commander, Colin Firth. And Colin Firth informs Blake that he has a brother in the 2nd Battalion, and what the 2nd Battalion is about to do is they're about to invade German behind the enemy lines, which should help them win the war. What they don't realize, though, is the Germans have set it up into a trap, and now it's up to these two officers to go hand deliver this message, call off the attack entirely, because if they don't, 1,600 men are going to die, including Blake's brother. And yeah, that's basically the story. You have these two soldiers that have to go through no man's land, go behind enemy lines, and deliver this message before it's too late. Right out the gate, though, where you could tell this movie is going to be unique is the way this movie is shot. It is shot similar to the movie Birdman. It's one continuous take the whole time. There are no jump cuts, there are no switches to various camera angles or anything along those lines. It's all just one continuous take. A few times in the movie, maybe the screen goes black to like set up for a different setting or something like that, but the whole movie is basically one shot, and it's amazing. It's something that gives me such an appreciation for movies like this, because I'm someone who just sits in front of a camera and talks about movies, and I gotta make jump cuts every other minute. So when you watch a movie like this, you can only imagine the director's like, the editing has to be perfect, the camera angle has to be perfect, and the actors have one chance to get their lines right, otherwise you may have to start the entire scene all over again. It gives you such an appreciation for the camera work, for the performances the actors give, and above all that, it really makes you feel like you are there. Like you feel like you really are on this journey with these two soldiers. Like you're going through these trenches with them, you're going on this quest with them. So when they go through areas that seem kind of sketchy and seem dangerous, it puts you on the edge of your seat because you feel like you are there. It sucks you into the world, and when a movie can do that to you, that's when you know it's more than a movie. What I also appreciate is, unlike a lot of war movies, this one doesn't have a lot of war battle scenes in it. So that may have you thinking, well, where does it get its intense moments? Where does it get its Saving Private Ryan storming the beach at Normandy kind of moments where it gets your heart racing, gets you sweating, makes you shake, and just, you know, freaks you out? What this movie chooses to do is it's a lot of situational tension that it uses in this movie, and it's really smart in the way it sets it up. There's one scene in particular, the soldiers go through this kind of stone trench that the Germans had abandoned at times. You know, it's dark in there, they don't really know what to expect. At one point, they discover some tripwires, so they're just like, oh shit, this place is rigged to explode. So it's like, watch your step entirely. At one point, a stupid rat falls from the ceiling, activates one of the tripwires, the whole place goes kablooey, and now the entire trench is about to collapse onto the soldiers. And when it happens, it's so abrupt, it's so sudden, and it feels so real, it freaks everyone out. You put a scene like that in any other movie, it's not gonna have the same effect that it does, but this movie makes you jump out of your seat, it keeps your heart racing, because what I appreciated is it kind of does what I would say a lot of horror movies fail to do. It pulls off the jump scare, and that initially gets your heart racing a little bit, but it keeps your heart racing. It only intensifies it from there. The second that wire goes off, Blake has to go find Schofield, who's buried in rubble. He can't see. He's got, you know, rocks and dust in his eyes. You know, so he's just like, you keep hold of me. We gotta get out of this trench now or it's gonna collapse on us and we're gonna die. You know, all they have is a little flashlight to get them through this pitch black trench with rocks falling apart on them. The two of them were able to get out of it alive, but it just has you sitting there after that scene like, holy fucking shit, that was insane. And what I think really works is this being a war movie, there never really is a moment where you can't stop and relax. Because this being a war movie, this obviously gives you some disturbing imagery, but I do feel that's important because it reminds you what these soldiers are really up against. You see a lot of dead, rotting corpses just everywhere. You see these planes just flying in the sky and they're trying to hide themselves because they don't know, are they friendly, are they foe? They're going into enemy lines. If a German finds them, they're going to kill them. The movie doesn't give you a moment to catch your breath, and I really, really appreciate that because it just keeps you wired into the movie. And soon enough, shit gets even more real when they stop at an abandoned farmhouse. They witness a dogfight going on, and one of these planes crashes into the farmhouse that they were, you know, gathering some supplies from. They discover it's a German soldier. His plane is about to go off. It's about to explode. And they're thinking, it's like, should we let him die with his plane? But, you know, the soldier Blake, he's like, nope, we need to help him. Let's get him out of here. They get him out of there. He tells Schofield, okay, go get some water for him. But unfortunately, as Schofield went to do that, he turns back around. He sees this German soldier just stabbed Blake right in the gut. Schofield just shoots this German get down. But now Blake is bleeding really, really badly. And what you get here is just the kind of scene that just breaks your heart. It's a scene that makes you well up in tears. Like, he's holding Blake, and Blake's, you know, freaking out. He's trying to get him up, but he just can't. He's losing a lot of blood. And, you know, it's as they're talking, as he's trying to maybe comfort Blake, it reaches a point where Blake looks at Schofield and he's just like, am I dying? And Schofield responds to him like, I think you are. And, you know, it's in these moments, they just have a really heart-to-heart conversation. You know, Schofield tells him, like, I'm still gonna go, I will still try to save your brother, and at one point Blake just looks at him and is like, can you please write to my mom for me and just let her know that I love her and I did my best? And he's like, I absolutely will. And then, unfortunately, Blake dies from his wounds. You know, Schofield's like, I gotta take his badge, his rings, anything that I can salvage and give to his family, I have to. It was a scene that I really didn't see coming. Certainly not this quickly. I mean, you watch some war movies, you expect some characters along the way will probably die, but I mean, it didn't feel that long into the movie. I didn't expect one of the main characters to just get taken out like that. And that's it, you know, it's brutal to watch, it's heartbreaking, but what really sucks about it is just, you know, it feels real. You imagine this is what soldiers witness, this is what they go through. It's like, they could probably have, you know, teammates, well, not teammates, but, you know, people that they work with in the military just die right there in their arms and there's nothing they can do. Like, I don't even know what I would do in a situation like that. I don't know how I would make myself just press on. So now Schofield, he has to just press on with the mission. He needs to get to the 2nd Battalion because the clock is ticking. If he doesn't get there in time, everyone's dead. And when it comes to character development, I really liked seeing this here with Schofield because he didn't really want to go on this mission with Blake. In Blake's case, he felt like he had to because his brother's in that 2nd Battalion. This is a more personal mission for him. He's like, I have to go. I have to save my brother. Schofield's on this mission because he was chosen by Blake to come with him. They didn't even know what this mission was going to be. It could have just been going to collect supplies for all they knew. Now, it's solely him making his way to the 2nd Battalion, and you really do see, you learn more about him, and you see the growth in him. He's obviously taking more charge of himself, more charge of this mission, you know, he's being a lot more stealthy. There's one scene in particular, he has to, you know, continue on at night. He's really in the German enemy lines now, and, you know, at one point, one of the snipers sees him. He has to kill that guy in order to, you know, for his cover to not be blown. We get this one really sweet moment where he's hiding in like this abandoned house. He runs into this French woman who, she can't really speak English, so, you know, he's trying to have a conversation with her. He finds her with a baby. Just a really nice, touching moment of him interacting with her, interacting with the baby. At one point, he leaves them with some food and some of the supplies that he had. I appreciated seeing that scene because A, it obviously added heart to the movie, but B, it also, in a way, reminds you of what people who aren't necessarily in war are dealing with that get caught in the crossfires. You have this lady with a baby that's not even hers, but she has to take care of it because she can't leave it alone, and they're stuck in this warehouse. If they go outside, they could just get killed. It's scary stuff, and what's especially terrifying is you know it was real. That shit happened, and probably still does happen. Eventually, finally, after surviving a waterfall and Germans just shooting at him all night, Schofield does eventually finally wind up with the 2nd Battalion. They're all just, at one point, just sitting in a forest, you know, someone is singing, one of the soldiers is singing. I don't know the name of that song. It's a song that's featured in the trailer, but hearing it in the movie, I'm just like, I love this song. I want to hear more of this song. Is it on Spotify? Not gonna lie, when I got home later that night and I did some research on the internet, I found that song, I listened to it a few times. When it's played with the trailer music, it's actually a pretty epic song. It kind of reminded me of the song that Pippin sings to Denethor in Return of the King. It kind of had that feel towards it. Now Schofield finally realizes that he's there. He needs to find the commander, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, but unfortunately, it's too late. The attack has already begun. You know, soldiers are prepared to run in the battlefield, and he's like, I have to stop this. So he does the ballsiest, crazy thing he can do as the Germans are just dropping bombs out of the sky. He storms out of the trenches where that's the only form of protection they even remotely have, and he's just sprinting as fast as he can, dodging bombs coming out everywhere that are taking out soldiers just to try to get to the commanding officer. And right before the attack can get very serious, he finally meets with the colonel, who's played by Benedict Cumberbatch, as I mentioned, explains to him what's going on. At first, Cumberbatch doesn't really believe him. It's like, you're just a common soldier, why should I listen to you? Hand delivers him the message itself, and with that, the attack is called off, and everyone is saved. Well, I guess I shouldn't say everyone. There were definitely some casualties, but the majority of them are saved. Among those that were saved were in fact Blake's brother, and finally Schofield unites with him, and he explains, I was sent here with your brother, but I'm sorry to say your brother didn't make it. I wanted to give these to you because I couldn't leave you with nothing. He saved my life. I unfortunately wasn't able to save his. I tried, and I'm sorry. And, it's just, you see the look on the brother's face, he's holding back all of the emotion that he has built in him right now, and, all he can do for Schofield is just thanking him for taking the journey with his brother, and ultimately for saving everyone. Again, you put yourself in that situation. I mean, someone comes up to you and tells you, hey, I came here with your sibling to save your life, and your sibling didn't make it along the way. It's like, how would anybody feel? You're happy that your life goes, you're all you're thankful that your life goes on, but, you still feel that emptiness knowing that the life of someone you loved was basically done away with for yours. War, man, it's an ugly thing. We do get a final shot with Schofield that I actually appreciate. You just see him sit behind a tree, appreciate that he survived, that he made it, and he looks through, a little notebook that he has. In it, you see a picture of his wife and his 2 daughters with a message, you better come home to us. Because for me, this did harken back a little bit to the moment with the French woman that he had, when he was hiding in that house with her. At first, maybe someone thought, it's like, oh, is a brief little romance gonna spark between them? Kind of like the scene in Fury. It didn't happen, and people were probably thinking like, okay, well that's surprising, but no, now you see it's like, oh, so he already has a family waiting for him back at home. Again, it makes Schofield more relatable, and you see more of what he's fighting for this whole time. It was a really touching ending to an extremely impactful movie. So all in all, that's exactly what it is, guys. 1917, it's impactful, it's moving, it's intense, it's a fantastic, awesome movie. George McKay, who plays the soldier Schofield, he was awesome in this movie. His performance was incredible. I would say he's Oscar worthy, but I saw the nominations today, and, he's not among the list. But I will say, if it wasn't as competitive a year as it usually is, any other year he probably would have been up for consideration. I haven't seen that guy in really anything before, not that I know of anyway, so I'm going to say this right now. Anyone who's in charge of casting in Hollywood, You should put him in more movies because he's really good. I appreciate that the movie didn't rely so much on battle scenes in this movie to go for the intense, make your heart stop kind of moments that you usually get with war movies. In this movie, it's a lot of situational moments. It's a lot of the journey itself that these soldiers are go on. That's where the intense moments come from. The movie feels real. The camera work, again, unbelievable. Making this movie all one shot to make you feel more submersed into it. This movie is emotional when it wants to be. It is touching when it wants to be. The musical score in this movie was great too. For a lot of moments, the music they had going for it really made the movie better. This is one of those movies that I will think about for a very long time. It's the kind of movie that just, it stabs a spike into your heart and it just sticks with you. It's just like, you're gonna remember this movie. You will remember when you first saw this movie, how you felt, what it did to you. It's gonna impact you. I do have one big flaw with this movie, and the flaw is it didn't get a wide release in 2019, because I'm telling you right now, if it got a wide release and I had seen it in 2019, not only would this have easily made my top 10 best list of 2019, this would have been a serious contender for number 1. I'm serious, guys. This movie is that great. It's awesome, and I am so happy I finally got to see it. This movie deserves all the acclaim it's getting, and so much more. I can't wait to see this movie again. I will be talking about this movie for a long time with anyone who's seen it. And if you haven't seen it, even though you sat through this video and I know I ruined a lot, you still should see it because it's amazing. That's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.